Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another video from the Canal Sidings Model Railway channel. We're going back a bit now to a loco that I featured quite a few videos ago, my Lima bodied Vitrains chassis 37408, which has got DCC sound in it. It is not a TTS decoder. It is actually, I think, a Zimo decoder. I think it's a Zimo 646, which means it can only have 8 ohms, not 4 ohm speakers. But the reason we're going back to it is for several reasons. I'll explain all of them. First of all, the sound in it isn't very good. The main reason is that it has got a very small speaker. It's a sugar cube speaker in a tiny enclosure just fitted to one of the bulkheads behind the cab, sort of facing into the loco, and it doesn't give a very full sound. And I want to build another speaker enclosure that will take advantage of the space that I have in the loco. Haven't decided exactly where I'm going to put the speaker yet, but I'm going to build another one of my plasticard enclosures with another one of the Roads and Rails models sugar cube speakers in it, which some of you will probably remember that I did in an earlier video, and I put it into another Class 37, yes, my intercity liveried Class 37, which gave incredible sound. Now this one might not be quite loud enough, but I'm not going to change the volume. I'm going to leave it as it is, and I'm going to fit a new speaker, and I'm going to take a video of it before and after. So what we'll do first, oh, and by the way, I have had requests to give a little more information on how I built my speaker enclosure for the sugar cube. So this video is going to address all of those problems, and will show how I built the speaker enclosure. So what we'll do to start with is we will just get the engine running, and you can have a listen to the sound, and then we'll take it apart, make a decision as to where the speaker is actually going to go, measure it up for size, and then I'll build an enclosure. We'll install it, and we'll see how it goes with the camera in a similar position to where it is now, and the loco in the same position, and we'll do the same set of sounds. So let's get some sounds going first of all. Well, I did go a little bit wrong there with the sound. I hit the wrong button, but I think that still shows what the sound is actually like now. So what I'll do is I will now take the body off, and we'll go back to the workbench and we'll have a look at just what we need to do and how big a speaker we can put in. So I'll be back soon. Okay, so the next thing I need to do is work out what size speaker I can actually put in here. This is the place where it's going to go, and as you know probably, this speaker was sat in there like that, and is just a standard Zimo sugar cube in an enclosure, a very small one. I can get a speaker that's a bit bigger into here, fitted onto the back of this bulkhead. But what I have to be careful of is just here I have a connector into which this plugs, like that, for I won't plug it in, for the lighting on the loco. So what I need to do is ensure that I've got enough room for the speaker and for the wiring. So what I did was I quickly measured about what I've got, and if we just take a ruler and just do this, I have around about 27 millimeters, 28 millimeters, right up under there. I'm not going to use all of that. What I decided was to go 22 millimeters, which takes me just past here. And for width, I've got, not going too near the top, I've got another 22 millimeters. Now what I've actually decided to do is the sugar cube that I'm going to use is the same size as this one, and that is 15 millimeters this way and 11 millimeters this way. It's a 15 by 11 sugar cube. I'm not using the base, of course. So what I've decided to do is make it 15 millimeters plus the thickness of the sides wide, and to that end I started to draw up. Forgive me, my drawing skills are awful. So this is what I drew up. It's a, I could get it closer. Let me see if I can zoom you in a bit. This is the diagram that I drew of what I actually want. So the speaker is going to stand proud at this end. I'm going to drop this end down to let the wires through here, and I'm going to make the whole thing out of 1mm plasticard. It's going to be 22 millimeters long, 17 millimeters wide. That means that I can fit the speaker in there and have 1 millimeter this side and 1 millimeter this side, which will be the side cheeks, and the speaker will sit in a recess that I create at the top there. And down here, where I've drawn these lines here, is the bottom of where the speaker goes, and I will sit the speaker on a couple more pieces of 1mm material, one running there, there and there, to stop it dropping too far in, and also to allow me to use the as supplied sticky gasket to hold the speaker down into place. I will also glue it all round the sides, around this end, etc. But we will then have quite a large enclosure, significantly larger than the one that was on the original, that was in the on the original speaker that was in there, and this is what I'm looking for. So from that I generated this cutting list, which shows the two side cheeks. That's 2 of those needed, the bottom panel, the end panel, the top panel, this side, and a little panel to go there, which is this piece. And I put letters all around here, so that's A, that one is F, that one's G, this one is C, and I've put the letters on these as well, so that I know which one is which. From that, and I'm going to have to zoom you out again now, I generated an Inkscape drawing. So let's zoom this back out again. There we go. I generated this Inkscape drawing. Now the only important part of this drawing, to be honest, is this bit here. The rest of it is just a screen grab. So I took what's on that drawing and drew the parts out on here as rectangles, etc., and put their letters on so I knew which one was which as well. These three here are purely the pieces that sit, if I can find the other piece again, are purely the pieces that sit on the inside here, here and on that side to support the speaker on its way in. Now I could have gone ahead and cut that out in Inkscape, sorry, with my silhouette cutter. But it would have been lots and lots of cuts and would have been quite difficult to then get the pieces out. 1 millimetre plasticard will not cut all the way through with my silhouette cutter. So what I have to do is cut the last bit by hand, or preferably snap the plasticard. So I converted that drawing into this one, which is yet another screen grab from Inkscape. This time I have put the pieces together and I've put the whole thing into a rectangle, and just added little pieces in the places where I haven't actually got anything, the waste pieces. So that piece and that piece are usable. All the other unmarked pieces are waste. Okay, including this bit and this little bit here. Then when I cut that out, I can snap it along that line, I can snap it along that line, I can snap it down this line, I can snap it down that line, and I've easily got what I need. So I went ahead, set the silhouette cutter up. If you want to see that, I'll put a link to a video where my silhouette cutter is in use at the end for anybody who hasn't already seen it. I went ahead, cut it all out and snapped it apart, and then I used this diagram and put the components where they belong. Okay, so what I have here is all my parts laid out on the drawing you saw earlier, so I know which part is which. This is my base, two sides, an end, top, etc. So what I'm going to do now is simply glue them together into the box, and not forgetting these pieces that sit in the bottom of these to actually produce a ledge for the speaker itself to sit on. Having got all the pieces cut out, I stuck them together. Now I use this stuff, which is Revell Contactor. All the labels have come off of it, it's had it so long, but what I like about it is that it has this needle point on it where the glue comes out of the end. It's not actually a glue, it is only a liquid poly material, but it's very slightly thicker, I find, than the likes of limonene, which is incredibly thin, or Humbrol's liquid poly, which is my other usual polystyrene fixative, and you can put that precisely where you want it. And from that and those parts that I cut out, I've actually created this, which is the speaker enclosure that looks like that. It's got a little step on the end. This wire should come through here to get to the lights, and I've got 2 points here that I've got to solder to connect to the decoder, and it's 22mm this way, 17mm this way, and about 13mm tall in its highest place. and about 11mm tall at that end. So hopefully we have a loudspeaker that will work. It's been drying for about 12 hours now, so it should be okay to power it up and have a listen to it. So the next thing we'll do is we'll disconnect this speaker and replace it with that one. As you can see, we have probably about, if you can see what I'm doing here, we probably have about 3 times the volume that we had behind that speaker, which should give us a bit fuller sound. So let's take it to the layout now. Well, solder it on, take it to the layout, and we'll see what it sounds like. Back in a mo. And just before we go to the layout, one thing I did forget to show was there's the speaker mounted. It's not fixed yet, it's just sitting on the top of the gear tower at the moment, but I shall fix it to this. These wires will go over the top, and the roof, there's plenty of clearance to get the body back on. So that is where it will ultimately be. Initially we'll test it just free of the chassis. So I'll be back when I've soldered it on and got it back over at the layout. Okay, here we are back at the layout. I have the decoder hanging off the edge of the loco here, hopefully not shorting to anything, and the speaker sitting in the 6 foot here. So let's see first of all if it works. Well, I can already tell that the sound is fuller than it was before. It was very weak before. What I'd like to do is make it a bit louder, as I said. So we'll go with a horn. Not bad. And another horn. Yep. And we'll stop the engine. I can't do much more because I'll be dragging it all around the track if I make it move. So what I need to do now is fit it all together, put the body on, and we'll see what it sounds like in that guise. But as you can see, the speaker works. And here we are, loco fully back together. We can turn on some headlights. Yes. And we can start the engine. I think you probably agree it does sound better. I haven't done anything at all. I'll just stop it while I talk. I hope you can probably agree that it sounds better. I haven't done anything at all with the volume control. I do intend to turn that up a little bit. But what we'll do now is I'll just zoom out a little bit and we'll start the engine again and we'll do a couple of run-bys. So let's see where we can go from here. There we go. Should be about right. So there we have it. A new speaker enclosure built, installed, and I think we can say a success. As I say, I'm going to turn the sound up a little bit. When I did that with the tiny speaker enclosure, all I got was just louder sound with still no bass, too much treble. So I think we've got a bit more bass out of this, and that's probably about the biggest speaker that I can easily fit into that loco. So I hope that you've enjoyed it. I hope you've understood from my ramblings and from my crude drawings how I arrived at what I did, and I'll see you again in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.